Welcome to the SCIF. I am Matt. That's Stu. As you can see, I am in my normal place up here in northern Wisconsin in a parking lot of a grocery store underneath a tower. And if you're looking at Stu's background, he's in a little bit of a different place too. So
Yes.
we are coming at you tonight with quite a few stories. We're gonna roll the dice and throw those stories out there. Stu, what's on the docket?
Got a handful of stories. A couple of them you sent me, some more I found. ICE has been doing some damage in the Houston metro area. They've arrested over 200 individuals in the past 6 months. And these just 200 for sex crimes. Over 200 illegal immigrants just for sex crimes in the Houston metro area. So that's huge. We're going to look at that story. A big one that's been going around is the attack in Cincinnati. Was it last night or no? It was over the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was over the weekend.
Yeah, over the weekend at a jazz festival. We're going to look at that. There's
and looky here. I was so surprised to see the police chief of Cincinnati is a DEI hire, an overweight old woman who I guarantee you was never a top cop, but yet she is Miss Pro Diversity and the head of the Cincinnati Police Department, which looks like it's getting flushed right down the drain.
And she's also been sued for discrimination.
Yes, that's exactly by her own employees because she only promotes women and people of color.
Women and minorities, yep. Because they were saying there were, people would go that were perfectly qualified for the job and more qualified than other applicants and would be passed over for these other applicants because they fit that quota or that criteria that she was looking for.
Sounds about right. And if you see a picture of this woman, you'll understand. She looks just like the part. Super short, butch cut, very very leftist looking. Just put it that way.
Yeah, that's about the best way to explain it. Was exactly what you would think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at a story here where some of these judges in these blue states, because we hear about. You remember a couple of months ago there was the firebombing of the Tesla dealerships, and there was one that was a transgender and had a rifle, was pointing it at people. Mm-hmm. Molotov cocktails, attacking ICE agents and damaging federal buildings and all of that. These judges in these blue states are refusing to jail these people. They're releasing them. They're letting them out. They're putting them in halfway houses. Anything they can do to prevent from, putting them where they belong. We're going to look at some of those cases and look at some of the crimes these people are alleged to have committed.
Isn't it odd, Stu, right now that the deep state within the House and the Senate are doing everything they can not to push Trump's judicial nominees forward so they can keep these shitbags in charge out there? So isn't that odd?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd how all that works out?
It's amazing. It is amazing.
We need to primary some rhinos, folks.
We do. We're going to look at the story that happened over the past couple of days too, with this guy that stabbed 10 or 11 people in Walmart. Where this guy is one that should never have been on the streets. We're going to look at a story on him and his past and his involvement in things.
I know very little about that one, to be honest. I know an armed citizen stopped this individual, but this other story of this guy traveling from Vegas to New York is full of all sorts of holes, claiming he's against the NFL, was able to get in a building that's one of the most secure buildings, a building that houses BlackRock, the NFL, bunch of the major players in New York, and somehow he was able to ride these elevators when they have all sorts of fail safes in place, and he gets off on the wrong floor and happens to shoot somebody that was identified by these anti-Israel, pro-Hamas assholes, and allegedly screaming something about free Palestine, allegedly, right? But the
Yeah,
media
I had heard
originally
that
called
too.
him media originally called him a white guy, and
Yeah.
they're he was just upset about the TBI issue with the NFL.
Yeah, he was upset about the way NFL was
Bullshit.
handling
Bullshit.
CTE.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's like I was because I had heard the thing about the free Palestine and all that. I'm like, okay, that tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he traveled all the way from Vegas, but knew which building, but didn't know which floor to get off on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. 4
I'm
people
like,
are dead now. Yeah.
to shoot people.
Yeah. Bullshit meter
That
is
just didn't
pegged.
make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And none of it makes sense. I think most of us out there, the bullshit meter is pegged.
Yeah, it's very, not going to say it's wrong, but it's definitely a little squirrely.
I'm interested to hear what you got on this stabbing suspect, or the dude who did the stabbing in the Walmart.
Yeah, there's a decent amount there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm running everything from the laptop right now, so it's going to be a. I was telling Matt, it's not going to be the normal, polished, seamless production that you guys are accustomed to. It's going to be a little rough around the edges this evening.
They're accustomed to. I'm sitting in a
I mean, I know
freaking
you guys
truck
are accustomed
in a
to
parking
quality, and we
lot.
try to provide it.
I'm sitting in a freaking truck in a parking lot in front of a grocery store underneath a cellular antenna. This is a streamlined, polished unit for sure.
Yeah, Troy's joined us tonight. He said he's on his way home from the shooting range, but he's listening.
Sweet.
So we appreciate it,
Sweet,
Troy.
Troy. That's a good place to
Yeah,
be going to or coming from.
or at
That's exactly right. It's a better place to be at.
which
For
I
sure.
need to do more of for sure.
You even shoot, bro?
You even shoot, bro? Not as much as I should.
I think that's
All right,
that should be everybody's
so
answer.
what do you want to start with, Matt?
Just
What's got
pull
you?
pull one right out of the hat.
Well,
Oh,
I'll just start the
wait,
way I've got them.
what about the Trump story with Virginia Roberts? Is that in one of those?
Oh, where he's talking about he was hiring people out of Mar-a-Lago.
Well, I think there was a bombshell today. We don't have to spend any time on this story, but here's the bombshell today: is Epstein was in Mar-a-Lago, and Ghislaine Maxwell in the spa in Mar-a-Lago where the young girls were working. He was A, inappropriate with the young girls. B, he was hiring them from Mar-a-Lago. It's like 16-year-old girls, like Virginia Roberts. Nobody knew that Virginia Roberts worked at Mar-a-Lago, but not just her, a group of them. And what was funny is James Patterson was telling a story because he's a member of Mar-a-Lago, and he knew the manager of the spa really well. And the manager told him that Jeffrey Epstein used to come in there quite regularly, and then he got like really inappropriate with the young girls. As soon as she mentioned that to Trump, Trump kicked his ass out of Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
So this is just one of these things that's really, really underneath the surface. And isn't it convenient that she's no longer with us? Gets hit by a bus out in the middle of the outback of Australia, and then happens to commit suicide a few weeks later. And
Well,
she was
that's
saying,
one of
"I
the
will
things.
not commit suicide."
Well, that's one of the things the media really likes to do with Trump. Or with Epstein. They keep pulling this image here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. But you
Mm-hmm.
look here in 1997.
Yeah.
This was 10 what because it was it was around 2007, wasn't it, when it came out that he was doing all this stuff?
Well, I think he
So
was. I
this
think he
is
went on trial in 2008. Yeah, so you're right. 10 years before.
so this was 10 years before anybody knew what this guy was doing.
And
And
Trump
as
was the
soon as
only
Trump
one
found out,
willing to help in his prosecution.
yeah, and as soon as Trump found out, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Like you said, he was willing to assist in the prosecution, which, funnily enough, he was basically given a slap on the wrist. But these are the pictures that the media keeps bringing up and not giving you the context of that this was 10 years before anybody knew anything. And then
Yeah.
I think that that supposed birthday card or whatever that was the big story last week,
That
that
was
was
all
in
fake.
2003, supposedly, which was still 5 years before anybody knew
And
anything about
it
this.
was
So,
100% fake. I mean, and nothing
yeah,
about
oh, yeah.
that card said anything with drawing pictures and the poetry, and none of it. Even AI said this looks like a fake. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was just saying, even if you want to take just face value for the sake of argument, give it credibility, it still was 5 years before anybody knew what this scumbag was up to.
Well,
It's,
isn't it funny that story comes out, and then it comes out that all of these bigwigs, like Clinton and all of these bigwigs, famous Hollywood people, were on a mass card that was given to him for his birthday, and yet this bogus
yeah,
story comes out a few days before that hits the. Yeah, it's real. And JD Vance, a reporter asked him about something, and he's like, you know what's real? He's like, Trump is trying to. He's told Pam Bondi, he's told everybody involved, release everything, right? When you get it, right? And
yeah,
starting off with the grand jury evidence, right? And that's being blocked by leftist judges everywhere. But what JD Vance said is what's really odd is that, and if you start to look at the things that happened, including the death of Virginia Guffrey / Roberts, right? Um, what's really odd is that the Obama administration and the Bush administration, none of this was brought up when all of this shit was going on, when he was being
yeah.
let off. You know what I mean? And why was he being, and nothing coming out about anything, right? But the
No,
media wasn't curious one bit. You cannot hate the media enough. This is going to be a theme again tonight with a lot of these stories, with the Cincinnati story, with this story, with so many. Even the story that we were just talking about, the shooter in New York. The media
yeah.
is
It's a
100%
theme
corrupt.
every week, Matt. It's a
Hmm.
theme every week.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, anyways, that's all really that came out today, and it was a little bit surprising because nobody knew that that Guffrey worked at Mar-a-Lago before she was recruited by, along with other girls, by Epstein.
Yeah. And
So,
it's just one, it's another thing that, and there, with Epstein, he was getting people from everywhere. Mar-a-Lago was just a
mhm.
convenient place because it was somewhere
all
that
all out of the
rich
spa.
people went, beautiful girls were there, and a target of opportunity.
Yeah. All out of the spa, and it's funny. It's funny. Trump doesn't. This is the last thing I'm going to say on this. Trump doesn't get any of the credit when he bought Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago was owned by the Post family, cereals from Michigan, right?
Hmm.
Um, and the country club there when he bought it was a racial country club. That means it wasn't open to minorities or Jews, right? The first thing Trump did was he opened it to everybody. And guess who fought him on it? All of the liberals in that area, including West Palm, all of it fought him tooth and nail. Trump doesn't get any credit for any of that. So he opens up
Yeah,
Mar-a-Lago to everybody, right? And Trump is the one that is called a racist by all of these frauds and phonies. right? So the whole thing with Epstein happens, and Trump boots him out of Mar-a-Lago way before anything was ever exposed about this guy, right? Trump's the only one who works with the prosecution when people do know about this guy, right? The only one who would pick up the phone and be available, for the prosecution going after him, right? And yet all of these other people are being shielded. Clinton, how many times did Clinton go to Little St. James, the island, Epstein Island, right?
Yeah.
Something like 20 some plus times, allegedly. And all of these other
Mhm.
people, multiple times. And don't forget, Epstein also had a facility in New Mexico, and he also had the place in New York. And allegedly, the other Clinton, you know who I'm talking about, spent time at the one allegedly in New Mexico. Right. So this is really, really, yet you don't hear the media asking any of the Clintons any of this, do you?
But no, they're not
No,
curious at all about that.
no,
The only
no.
thing they care about is
Trump's plane was broken and took a ride on Epstein's jet going from West Palm to New York, where his jet was being repaired uh, once. And they're trying to confuse the public, making it seem like Trump was on the Lolita Express when he never was.
well,
Trump
yeah, because all they're
never was
saying is,
there.
oh, he's on the flight plane, he's on the flight
Yeah,
manifest,
yeah,
he's in the flight logs.
yeah.
But
From West Palm to New York because
well,
his
they
plane
leave
was
out
being
that part. They
repaired.
conveniently leave out is lying by
Yeah,
omission
yeah. You can't
because
hate him
they're
enough.
wanting you to think one thing and they're giving you just enough information to lead you down that path.
You cannot hate the media enough. So that's the long and short of it. Period. Amen. What do we
Yep.
got next that you want to talk about, Stu?
No, I was going to say Freedom posted. He said mainstream news should have an should add for entertainment purposes only at the bottom of the screen.
Well, it's amazing how they get away with the shit that they get away with. Straight up
Yeah.
lying and propaganda. I don't understand how they're protected from all of this. And I don't think they should be, right?
No.
You know, you do not have the right to go and knowingly spread false information to create a false narrative against somebody for somebody else, which is the deep state, obviously, right?
And
So
they get around it by one with plausible deniability, and then two, like I said, giving you accurate but misleading information. Trump is on Epstein's flight manifest. Look, here's a picture of Trump and Epstein. All of it's true, but there's no
well,
context, and it's purposely done that way.
Well, on the shooter thing, dude, on the shooter thing in New York, it's like CNN's out there telling everybody the guy's a white man when you can very clearly see he's black, right? But they're
Yeah.
so concerned. Why are they so concerned about the color of the individual? It's because they wanted it to be a white man because they want to push
Well,
this racial animus in this country.
well, you remember the white Hispanic, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not the first time, won't be the last. If the facts don't fit, we'll make them.
Yeah. Yeah. The white
But
Hispanic, the Trayvon Martin case. Yeah. So,
yep.
oh
So
well.
what we're the first story we're going to get to here after Matt's 18-minute intro there. We've got where ICE has arrested 214 illegal immigrants for child sex crimes in the Houston metro area. And that's been in the past 6 months.
Oh
So they've
boy.
been doing some work right there, and they're saying that figure surpasses the 211 arrests made during the entire 2024 fiscal year by the Houston field office. So, they still got it's July, August, September, October. So they've still got 3 more months of work to put in to bring those numbers up even more. But
If you're a young man out there, I just heard this, and this is related to this story. If you're a young man out there and you're interested, or woman, in getting into law enforcement, ICE is hiring like crazy. And apparently, they had so many responses that it almost collapsed their system. So
crash the
they're
server.
offering sign-on bonuses. They're offering all sorts of stuff. That would be a great. that would be an interesting. I have to tell you, a lot of law enforcement today is not interesting to me. Okay, would not be interesting to me, just because of how politicized, especially in these big cities, as we'll talk
Oh
about later
goodness, yeah,
in Cincinnati and stuff. But now this, you're actually doing a real service for the country, and it looks in this scenario, you will be allowed to do your job, and you will have leadership that is watching your back. So
yeah.
I would strongly suggest, if you were interested in law enforcement, looking at ICE.
Well, the thing is, they've got some of the Democrats. I think it was in Minnesota that
Hmm.
were trying to pass the law making it illegal for them to cover their face.
Oh yeah, yeah, all over
Yeah,
California, Minnesota, all the big cities, and they're like, "Well, why are they? Our local law enforcement doesn't cover their face." They're saying shit like this. They know damn well what they're doing, so they
yeah,
can be
because they're
doxxed.
trying to dox
They're
them.
like,
That's exactly
some
what they're
old
trying to
lady
do.
running a lemonade stand isn't going to be concerned about somebody that has them. They're not going to be able to go after their families. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
That's what that Karen Bass said. It's like, you are such an idiot. You're such a liar. You're so dishonest. We all
there's
know what you
there's
are,
some of them.
right?
I swear I don't understand how they have enough brain power to keep
Well,
their
Karen
autonomous
Bass,
functions going, their
Karen
heartbeat and
Bass
their
has brain.
breathing.
She's a radical Marxist from way back when. From way back when. She's a dangerous woman. Um, but she's been exposed. Well, now they're also saying, I keep on going off, that all of the money that was donated towards those fires, now there's all sorts of bullshit involved, and all of this money was distributed via
Yep.
NGOs. And they're like, how much money got to the people that needed it for the fires?
Exactly.
So,
They were all this money that was raised for the victims of the fires. None of it, and this is in California. Is it the Palisades fire?
yes,
Um,
yes.
there was all this money that was raised, all these concerts, all these fundraising, all this stuff where everybody, donated just I don't know, a ton of money. And come to find out, none of it went to the people that lost their
Well,
homes in
it
this.
wa-
It goes
it
to
was it,
nonprofits.
it was going to, just, it was getting siphoned down every time. So the amount
Yeah.
that was raised, just a small portion of it. So if you donated through Act Blue would take their cut. Then they would give it to somebody else, and they would take their cut, and then they would pass it on to other NGOs who take their. It's a complex money laundering scheme, is what it was.
And that
Uh,
it would be so interesting if that was just forensically audited, that money trail, to see how many different sets of hands it went through, having 8, 10, 12% taken off the top every time it passed through
Well,
for
it's the same. If
management.
you look at USAID, that's what they were doing, is funneling this
Yeah,
money all over the place. But here's another thing: the Kennedy Center, they discovered there is a yearly deal around $26 million of revenue that's phantom revenue, and they're like, "What in the hell?" So, I mean, it's every single thing, and you wonder why we're $37 trillion in debt. You wonder why, and that's your taxpayer money, folks. These people in
yeah.
Washington getting filthy rich, right? The circle around Washington D.C. is the richest circle in the world, and that's all based off of our taxpayer money. So it's insane. It's absolutely insane, and we should not accept it. I think we're all waking up and we're not accepting it. But yeah, getting back to the in Houston, that 217 arrests or whatever it was of child predator illegal aliens. That is just
Yeah.
scratching the surface with what they let
It
inside our
really is.
country. And I also heard
And
that this missing children number wasn't 360,000, but actually closer to 700,000. Have you heard any of
I don't
that?
doubt it. I have not
You're
heard that, but I
silent,
don't
Stu.
doubt it.
You're on mute. You
Can you
there,
hear me?
Stu? You're still on mute. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Is it one of these things? Can people hear you and not hear, and I just can't hear you, that we had
I don't
before?
know. I can hear you fine.
Yeah, my phone
I
is
don't know.
hot.
Can you guys post up in the chat if you can hear me? Okay, they're saying they can hear both of us.
Hey Stu, point to me if it's my issue. It's my issue. Okay, I'll come back. I'm gonna sign out and come back.
Okay. All right. So Matt's going to hop off and try and get his deal resolved there. I'm trying to shuffle windows around here because, like I said, I'm doing everything from my laptop since I'm on the road. But yeah, like Matt said, the 214 illegal immigrants, that's huge. And this is when the media is talking about, oh, they're only targeting whomever. It's like, no, these are people we're trying to get out of our country. We don't need to import more issues. We have enough homegrown issues not to be taking on the rest of the world's. The big story that Matt is going to want to talk about, we'll hold off on that one since he's going to be back in a minute. Let me see. Is there anything else? Yeah, we'll go with this one here. This is the story I found. We've got, you guys remember over the past 6 months, there have been just all of these different attacks with the Tesla dealership, with the firebombing, the attacks on federal buildings, a bunch of different things like that. Well, these people have been rounded up, they've been arrested, and they've been, taken to court. But unfortunately, what we're looking at is we've got judges that are refusing to jail. Oops, what happened? Let me back up. I hit the wrong button here. Okay. So judges are refusing to jail these individuals. And it's not just one or two, or it's not just one judge. Down here, we've got this guy, Hoopies, whatever. He was arrested, or this was the one that did the Tesla fire bombings. So this was the person that was throwing Molotov cocktails at a Tesla dealership and then was aiming a rifle at witnesses and then drove away and returned the next month and fired shots into the building. Now, the DOJ warned that this person was a competitive shooter and a member of the Socialist Rifle Association, which was a left-wing firearm and education group. The Molotov cocktails used by Lansky were all manufactured by him using everyday items. Now, this Obama-appointed judge nonetheless ordered Lansky's release to a halfway house and said that Lansky's alleged behavior was an outlier event. It's like, I'm sorry, you basically are making Molotov cocktails, which are illegal. You're firebombing dealerships. You're threatening people with firearms. You're firing weapons into buildings, not knowing if they're occupied or not. But we're going to put you into a halfway house because that was an outlier event. We've got another one that was also moved to a halfway house. This is one who tried to light an incendiary device next to an Portland ICE building, threw a knife at federal officers, and then pulled a second knife on officers that were restraining him. It's just, these are the people that they're like, okay, well, they got caught, but we're going to let them go. It's this individual here is okay. This one's Hoops. This is the first one I was talking about. They let him go basically because he was he was nonviolent. He's supposedly a Quaker, and let him go. But these are the people that are caught on camera committing these crimes. You can really leave off the words allegedly, and these judges are refusing to keep them in jail. This guy was throwing rocks. One of them hit an officer in the head, causing injury. And then later that same day, he and two other individuals were seen using a stop sign as a battering ram, trying to knock down the door of an ICE building. But no, we're just going to let this guy go. He doesn't need to serve any jail or doesn't need to spend his time in jail awaiting trial. We'll just let him go. Are you back, Matt? Can you hear me?
I'm back. I can hear you now.
It's perfect.
It's something this phone gets, and this is a brand new phone. It's something this phone gets hot. I don't know. Maybe it's the case that it's in. When it gets hot, it shuts down, and I can't hear. And it gets hot fast. I mean, that was like only about 20.
Show's been running 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. What story are we on right now? We're on
I was just talking about all of these people that have been caught with the firebombing Tesla dealerships. This was the same one I forgot until I was reading the story that came back later and actually fired into the Tesla dealership. It was sent to a halfway house because the judge said that behavior was an outlier event.
I didn't know he fired. He actually shot into the.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my Lord. Yeah. These judges are a disaster. They're an absolute disaster.
See, these are the same judges. I can guarantee you, if there was somebody from January 6th that was standing on the lawn when the activity that took place then, they'd be putting them under the jail because they're not a member of the right club.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I heard. What did I hear? Oh, it was something on that. Do you remember when ABC News, I think it was ABC News, this was the Epstein thing, and it kind of what you just said reminded me of that. Do you remember when there was a woman reporter from ABC News said, I had everything on Epstein. I had this is the first we ever heard of Virginia Giuffre, right? I had her. We brought her out of hiding. We had everything on the Clintons, everything, right? And ABC quashed the story, and she was telling Project Veritas when it was really Project Veritas with James O'Keefe, right? She was telling a reporter from Project Veritas this, and she's like, they came in and stopped the whole story, right? It's funny, right? The whole Epstein.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
I don't doubt it.
Here's the part. The individual that put the stop to that story was the same one. Remember when the J6 committee brought in somebody from mainstream media to produce the whole January 6th trial? Remember?
Yeah.
This was the individual, the one who put the kibosh on Epstein was the one who was the one that was consulting for the January 6th trial. So when you mentioned, you bring up January 6th, these judges would be for somebody sitting on the lawn, just being there. Yeah.
Well, there were people put in jail that never even entered the building.
Well, we need to get a hold of our senators. And Mike Lee actually put out a statement yesterday. You need to be getting a hold of your senators and telling them to stay here to get Trump's nominees pushed through. John Thune is playing a funny little game. He's playing a funny little game. And there's some rumors that, see, if they leave, right? If they leave altogether and call a complete recess, then Trump can use this backdoor channel to put
the recess appointments.
In there. Yes, the recess appointments, which they'll still have to eventually get approved. But what they're saying is that they're not going to stay, and then they're going to keep coming back and calling a session, so they're never truly out of session. So Trump can't do the recess appointments.
Yeah.
We need to get a hold of our senators. And we've got this Maria Salazar down in Florida, Republican, pushing this amnesty bullshit that we were talking about last week. Hardcore joining the Democrats, the Immunity Act. She needs to go. She is no conservative Republican. She is an activist disguised with an R next to her name. Maria Elvira, whatever her name is, Salazar. I think it is.
But hey, Freedom posted up. He was saying Minnesota's a mess. There was a major cybersecurity breach in St. Paul today with some services affected. And Waltz authorized the deployment of cyber protection support from the Minnesota Air National Guard.
Really.
I had not heard anything on that.
It's funny with all of these when the walls are closing in on the deep state and shit going down, you're going to start seeing, I just have a sneaky suspicion, cyber attack after cyber attack after cyber attack, right? How do you shut everything down when the walls are closing in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that the public will buy. Yeah. Yeah. I'm dubious of everything, and you should be too. You guys are. So,
and then Freedom talking about the last story with these judges. He says it's time to jail the judges. Either they follow the Constitution and protect the citizens, or they can serve the offender's sentence.
Impeach their ass. But if we had a Senate that was worth a shit, that's what we'd be doing right now. This is why the midterms are going to be so important, folks. So, yeah, with the judiciary is completely corrupt, and it was corrupted over years of the Biden administration, the Bush administration, the Obama administration. The judiciary is absolutely corrupt, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's crazy what they've decided to do, and actually, even though the Supreme Court has come out and said that these district judges can't issue these nationwide injunctions, and there's a judge come out saying that Trump cannot cut funding to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, absolutely defying what the Supreme Court said. So, when Freedom said they should bare minimum be impeached, but possibly be arrested and brought up on charges of violating constitutional rights of U.S. citizens.
I mean, again, you might as well call it obstruction of justice. That's what they're doing. If they want to, throw those terms around, how is that not? You're intentionally thwarting the will of the people through the House and the Senate, the president signing it, and the Supreme Court saying, yes, this is good to go. Who are you to be, saying no? I say no.
Didn't Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama tell us nobody was above the law? Didn't they tell us that?
I think so, but I think they meant none of the peasants are above the law. They obviously are.
That's what they meant. The peasants.
I think what they said is none of you are above the law. I think that's what they meant. They may have misspoken, but I think that's what they meant.
Yeah, dirty, filthy peasants like us are the problem.
The story I'd left, I was going to do it, but I knew you wanted to talk about this one, is Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So if you want to go ahead and
do we have a picture of that sheriff? I mean, the police chief.
I'll find one. Go ahead and start with what you're going to talk about.
Basically, there was a jazz festival downtown, and it's all cloudy as to what started this. But apparently, there was a couple, and they were white, and there was a mob of people that were black that were all gathering around, and next thing you know, the mob gathers around them. Somebody throws a punch, then somebody else throws a punch. The guy's on the ground, and they're egging him on. The crowd that was filming it, oh, look at that! If everybody's probably seen the video, right? And they're straight up going up and kicking this guy in the head, which is attempted murder, by the way. To kick somebody in the fucking head when they're down is just unreal. Okay. And next thing you know, you see people trying to help the guy up. Then this woman appears, and a black woman starts, and she's white. Black woman starts going after her, and then a black dude comes in and straight up punches this white woman in the face and knocks her out. And they're all encouraging, oh yeah, doing that. This woman goes straight back, hits her head. She is knocked out cold. And here is the police chief right here. Now, tell me that this woman is not a DEI hire. How could she have ever been a top cop? Look at this disgrace of a police chief. So no police show up. This goes on forever. There's no police presence in downtown Cincinnati at this jazz festival, right? And had it not been for social media, conservative social media, the mainstream media, including Fox, would not cover this, and they're
Nope,
not
it was
covering it.
not.
Okay, so the local media decides to go down and cover it, and you know how they cover it? They
Yeah.
there was
Yep.
a fight and da 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 da, and now they're talking about the local black-owned businesses and how they're the victims of all of this,
Yeah,
right? The local.
how these local businesses are going to be affected by the violence. It's like, how about the
Mhm.
two people that, one was really guys on the ground and you're jumping on his head. I'm sorry, that's attempted
Kicking him in the
murder.
head,
How is it not?
kicking his head like a freaking soccer ball. And the mob of people. I mean, it's like 30 people, okay, at least. And this is, it's absolutely, and there were people there trying to help him, people that were both black and white trying to help him, but the mob that was doing this was all black that I could see. All of it. Had these roles been reversed, believe me, there would be a burning city right now, and it would be nonstop, wall to wall, 24/7 coverage. So the federal government is now involved in this. Okay, Pam Bondi's looking into it. Vivek Ramaswamy's all over it. JD Vance is all over it, and
All right.
now it's starting to get some traction.
Here we go, Matt. This is part of the video. I don't know. So there's at least two people, three on him, and now he's down. So we're going to stomp on his head.
Here comes the whole mob. Here it
Yep.
comes.
Oh, somebody got their weave snatched off.
See there, that woman
Yep.
right there is the one that's going to get punched here in a second. The white woman who's trying to
Yep.
get in there.
Yep. He's just on the ground. They're just wailing. And again, this is almost a 2-minute long video that this is going on. No cops.
Yep, they're kicking the head. You see the kick in the head right there.
Oh.
Yep. Now wait till you see the woman get it. Dude,
So this is constant. You got people trying to get him up. Now they get all pissed because this lady right here,
here comes the woman. Here
Here
comes.
Yep.
So this woman right here, you see in her picture, she starts to attack right there, starts to attack that woman.
Yep.
Okay. And then there's a black dude who straight up cold cocks this woman and knocks her out.
Yep.
Oh, maybe it's right here where it's right here where the woman is in that like flower dress right there.
Yeah.
So there, her now there, the woman starts with her. Keep going with the video.
Yeah. Boom. So that's what was going on. And there's a story here I saw whenever I was trying to find this where, actually it was this story. If you go down here past the video, the chief was, let me see, expressing outrage that there were 100 and something people watching and recording and only one called 911. It's like, well, because of the 100 people watching, the ones that weren't recording were participating. I mean,
yeah. And where were the police in the first place? And then she was out there. She made some comment, or maybe the assistant mayor or something. They have some assistant mayor or something made some comment that we get on top of children for bullying, and then we have adults that are out there demonstrating immature behavior. There's
bad behavior.
Like that. Yeah,
we have adults out here with bad behavior. It's like, no, that's attempted murder. He was stomped in the head at least a dozen times.
Well, I hope the federal government gets involved. I hope they find every single one of these people. I hope they're all charged with attempted murder, because that's exactly what that was. And this happens all over the place. They have created Barack Obama in his administration, no matter how you want to look at it, in my opinion, has so set this country back in race relations for a reason. It's for a reason. It was to divide this country because they want to conquer it with Marxism. And this is
Well,
a common
the more they
tactic.
can keep people apart and divide them, the easier it is to pit one group against another one. So you don't pay attention to what's really going on and who the actual cause of your woes happens to be. And it's not your neighbor. It's the government and their policies and the way they're trying to run the world. They're the ones that are crashing economies, that are crashing job markets. The guy across the street's got nothing to do with it. But if they can make you think it's his fault because, oh, he's got a nicer car than you. The only reason he's got that nicer car than you is because he's got more money than you. If he didn't have all that money, you would have some of it. And that's what they do. They turn into class warfare and racial warfare.
You stir a group of people up, and then you hold nobody accountable for any of this. And this is what you get. This is what you get. And had it been reversed, had this been a group of white people doing this to a black, I would hope that they would all be charged with attempted murder too. But we're seeing this far too often. We're seeing it far too often. The media doesn't cover it. And this is racism 101. This attack is going to be very hard to convince me this was not a racially motivated attack. It was a racially motivated attack. And these people need to be held to account for this.
And it will be interesting to follow this and see what happens and what they're actually charged with and what the outcome of any proceedings happen to be. Because I think they were saying 5 people were arrested or something.
Yeah, there needs to be more than that. Where were the police, though?
5 suspects.
What? There's a jazz festival and there's no police presence whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
I mean, that department is a disgrace. We saw something similar down in New Orleans, around the first of the year with that very similar. Could be this woman's twin sister as the police chief down there. This is a disgrace. And these police chiefs, how is this woman a freaking police chief? I'd love to see her. Apparently she's been a cop for over 30 years. I'd love to see her record, right? So, yeah, I mean,
what here I'm trying to see when this article was written yesterday, published July 28th, updated July 28th at 5:28. So this article was written yesterday. We know the video has been out since this weekend, right? And this is Fox News. Here's how Fox News characterizes it. A video circulating around social media shows 2 people attacking a man wearing a white t-shirt who was eventually shoved to the ground. The man wearing a white t-shirt was kicked several times while he was on the ground, but eventually gets up. A woman was also seen lying unconscious in the street. Several we seen helping her get up, and she eventually regained consciousness. So
that's
he
how
was just
Fox
shoved
News
to the
covered
ground.
it. Yes,
that was Fox News' story.
Fox News sucks. They absolutely suck. Everybody could watch that video. That video was on the internet like almost immediately. So that's Fox News. That just shows you what a disaster Fox News is. What an absolute. Fox News is becoming indistinguishable from the rest of the mainstream media. Indistinguishable. It's a disaster. It is a disgrace. And there's some good people on Fox News. I would encourage you to support them, but go get your news other places, which everybody that watches this show does. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Fair and balanced, right? Okay. Yeah. The Murdochs have run that place right into the ground.
Let me check and see if we've got any other comments, and then I think we're going to hop off here because I know you've got your phone acting up.
My phone is starting to get hot again.
My sinuses are absolutely giving me the business tonight, and I need to go find something to take before I have more problems. But Troy says Obama will go down in his book as the great divider, and it absolutely
Oh,
did.
yeah.
The bullshit he did. You can say whatever you want, but it set race relations back 20 years.
Mhm.
And the police chief encouraged people to keep coming to Cincinnati. No,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
What a disaster. What a
Why?
disaster.
Why would I possibly do that? There's nothing good going to come of that whatsoever.
No. No,
Not
avoid
if this
Cincinnati.
is
Avoid these liberal shitholes like the plague, because the Constitution doesn't apply. It doesn't apply there. And the police aren't going to do their job because they're going to be held back by woke, clout chasing jokes of a police chief like you have right there. And she's just a
yeah.
product of the leadership of the city, the disgraceful leadership of the city. That's all.
Oh,
She's a
absolutely.
product of that.
She
So,
was picked for a reason, and just like we were talking, it all goes back. Like the one we always use as an example was the IRS under Obama with Lois Lerner, and they're like, well, Obama didn't direct her to do. No, he picked her because he knew what she believed, how she thought, and what she would do given the chance.
no, Stu,
and she did exactly what she was.
Use the analogy that you used before.
Uh-oh.
The lions and the antelopes, or the lions and the gazelles.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to remember, what was it? Yeah,
because lions. Go ahead.
The lion's going to do lion shit or something. I forget.
Yeah.
Damn it! I should have written that one down. It was a good one.
They hired the lions because they know that lions eat gazelles, so they hired the lions to do lion shit, right?
Yeah, so, they didn't have to train the lion to eat gazelles. They got the lion because it knew it was going to eat gazelles. The lion's going to do lion shit. Exactly.
There you go. There you
and
go.
That's what it is with like these selecting her as a chief of police is because they know how she is going to operate, and that's how they want it operated. And they're getting exactly what they want. No one in leadership is surprised by her leadership or lack thereof. It's why they selected her. It wasn't a bug, it was a feature.
Yeah, exactly.
But we appreciate everyone for joining. I should be back home this next show, so it'll be more streamlined and polished like you're used to, more of a professional endeavor. Yeah. Matt, however, will still be operating out of the front seat of his truck, but
operating out of a pickup truck in a parking lot, with a flickering sign with a moth flying around it. And
he's so far back in the woods he can't even get internet or cell signal. So do what he can.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for being a patriot and living freedom every day.
All right. See you guys next week.